Hey, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about how do you make good sounding heavy metal drums, and I'll go a little bit about theory of that will be practical to just drummers starting out, because a lot of people wonder how do you sound crazy and do all these crazy sounding fills that all these fancy drummers do, and they find it just hard to decipher. But I'm going to show you a few easy tricks that you'll be able to use to decode fancy complicated rhythms and hopefully find the building blocks of it, and then that in turn will translate into being better able to write heavy metal drums in your DAW of choice. So I have already a little pattern prepared here. This sounds probably really crazy. Probably heard that number in some metal tracks, probably at obscene speeds. So what the heck is going on here? So I'm starting actually with the end of the presentation, but this is a group of 6 notes, and a lot of times what you'll find is to go fast, it's a repetition of a simple pattern just with different voicings. So in this instance I have several groupings of 6, and in this one it's 2 kick, 4 snare, 2 kick, 4 tom, 2 kick, 4 other tom, 2 kick, 2 tom, 2 kick, snare. So the basic building block groupings to look out for that will make you a better drummer if you practice these, because that's building block of any fill is just these, and it goes as follows. So the first one is just 2. So let's slow it down to a more reasonable speed. So doubles are used frequently, and you can use just 2 on the kick. You could do alternate snare to kick, and then sometimes you even do just single and then go into you've probably heard these kind of things before. So those are doubles, very useful, you'll find them frequently. The other useful pattern that you could do quickly is patterns of 3s. So you can't really do it unless you're using double kick pattern of 3 easily with one foot. So I cheat since I play primarily with single kick. So I'll sometimes use this for intros. Actually here. So these patterns of 3s, I oftentimes do 2 on the kick, 1 on the snare, or you'll start it in inverted, 1 on the snare, 2 on the kick. And that's actually how you keep it going the easiest, is you just alternate the voicing on this, and you can do them back to back. It's very easily repeatable. So, by the way, to copy these notes, all I'm doing is Control, click and drag to highlight, and then Shift click to do this. And here's another little sneak preview of something we'll learn later. If you zoom in all the way, you have to be in the cell mode. If you zoom in all the way, it actually lets you shorten the notes beyond the grid. And then you can do stuff like this, because I wanted those shorter. Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So those are triplets. You can voice those with... It sounds interesting when you alternate where you put them, so those are triplets in a nutshell. Next one, that is a very easy repeatable pattern, is 2 with the kick and 2 with the snare. And you can do this over and over. It's really fast. It's really easy to go fast with this. What are interesting voicings you can do with groupings of 4? You can invert this one as well. Bam. And you've probably heard this one before. So you don't always have to include the kick in it. Just groupings of 4 are really easy because you can just either do two-stroke rolls with each hand, or you just, the twos are really too easy to do with the foot, so it gives you a lot of flexibility, this one. Alright, so we have our 4s, and then we go back to the last one, which is 2 plus 4. And that's our groupings of 6. And we show that in the beginning, but let's recap real quick. And since I've shown you that one, I'll do some groupings of 6. But the beauty of these patterns is any fancy fill you've ever heard is some combination of 2, 3, 4, or 6. And if you listen carefully, you'll be able to hear it, and that'll inform your ear, and you'll be able to actually extract that and include that in your own compositions. Good artists, make their own stuff, and great artists steal. And the reason is because good music isn't just any one person's. We've all collectively built it over the centuries, and we're going to continue doing so. So don't be afraid to steal an element from one song, and then you can change the context it's in, or what instrument, or what voicing. That's what makes music beautiful, is we all get to build on each other's collective experience. So I guess here I'll do a few groupings of 6, and then we'll jump into what makes music powerful and how do you combine these to make some really crazy sounding fills on drums. Let's go a little slower. There's another one. This one's hard. I can't always do this one, but when you change which tom you're hitting in the midst of that 6-note run. Okay, so that concludes our building blocks. How do you put this together? How do you make powerful sounding drums? This is just my take on it. It's not theory based, but what I've found is most powerful drum patterns have this in common. They usually place the snare something like this. So let me show you. With a spaced out snare, whatever you do with the kick or supporting elements, it sounds really, really strong. So let's see, let me turn on. I know I got a lot of flack on this one for keeping the metronome. I'll turn it on just for a little bit, but it helps me orient my ear so I can know the spacings with the tempo correct. See, I probably did it too early. So another easy way, if you don't want to hear metronome, is you just okay. See, and this is a problem I get into a lot. I just started writing a 3/4 drum pattern on a 4/4 grid. So I guess this is a good happy accident. I get to show you how do you switch to a 3/4 grid, because a lot of metal and other powerful things is in 1/3. And I actually like that time signature a lot. So if you notice, our notes are all a little cut off. For drums it won't matter, but for other instruments it will. So easiest way to fix it, just drag it forward a little bit, cut the note off. I just hit delete on my keyboard. It cuts whatever's highlighted. And then but how do I fix it? Oh, so here's another way to fix it. Let's backtrack. So I was writing this in 1/4 time. And notice how I put this note right here. So this all sounds correct, but it's wrong. So here's another feature in FL Studio. If you ever make this goofy mistake like me, you highlight all the notes that you need. This little arrow, if you drag it back, you can actually line it up with the grid. So that's still not correct because this is how big our pattern is, and it needs to line up with all of this. And then, if you notice, if we switch to our 1/3 step grid, 1/3 beat grid, all the notes line up, and they're actually in. But for this speed, it probably needs to be double as long, so let's make it double as long. Bam. So it doesn't quite sound the same. Sorry, I'm getting a little lost, but But let's just write some 3/4 metal. So the thing that makes powerful metal, I think, or just powerful beats, going back to that original train of thought, is accents between kick and snare. Most of the power is generated between the interplay between kick and snare. You can add the other fills, but if you notice, what the ear is mostly drawn on is the kick and snare will highlight and accent something that the guitars are doing. So that's why even with so few notes, let's finish this out. And then let's see, will this loop? I know what's going wrong. I have an automation clip for this pattern 1 that's longer than 4 measures. That's why it keeps going. So let's throw this in pattern 2, which doesn't have it. That's a little cool trick. I love it when drummers like throw that kind of a fill in. Now, let's add a little bit of guitar. My favorite guitar plugin is, in Contact, there's an instrument called Shreddage. I definitely support this guy. He makes some awesome sounding guitars. So default it sounds. See, it's the cutoff note again, so let's make it longer because we switched grids. Bam. Alright, enough teasing. I don't play it like this, so to link it to to get it to sound right, that plugin of course has just raw guitar. What you do is you first select the instrument to select, make sure the instrument is selected by just clicking. The green box shows what's selected. We go over to our mixer, and then I'm going to throw it on channel 5 because first 4 are linked to other things, and I just click on the channel I want. I press Control L, and now my preferred amp is Archetype Nolly. The guy is a phenomenal bassist. And that sounds a little more mean. Let's see. also matching the drums, it sounds really powerful on electric guitar when you accent like mutes and open strings. Yeah, there we go. And then it doesn't sound quite the same or right without bass, so I like gin bass. It sounds really freaking good, and the heart on this is just amazing. Check this out. As you increase the distortion, this guy loses stuff. Okay, and we'll link that. And then usually you can be lazy because these two instruments use the same tuning and stuff, so I threw it up an octave by highlighted all, and I did Control up arrow. Okay, this part sounds a little empty, so let's... Oh, what I'm using, the reason I write all my stuff in one pattern, even though my friends hate me for it, is because you are able to quickly switch between instruments if you have ghost notes enabled. I think it's under helpers, and then ghost channels. It lets you, if you double right click on a ghost note, you can switch between the instruments easily, so it makes it very easy to rapidly prototype things. So I said the drum section here sounded a little empty. Let's listen. And sometimes when I get confused or I'm trying to write something really technical, it helps to slow it down. Oh, I want a triplet here. So let's switch back to cell grid, zoom in all the way. Let's see that. I'll keep this video shorter and end it right here, but let me know what you guys want to see next, or any particular metal band that you want me to copy, and I'll show you how to write out the drums, how to write out the guitar for it, and I'll make a new video. Catch you next time. Bye.